I'm very happy to speak right now, because I felt after listening to these answers that the young men they just gave, I said I'll have to tell you how I'm feeling about what I'm hearing. Um, so I'll answer your question, but I just want to comment on what I've just heard from these young men, mashallah. Basically, from what I heard, like I said when we were going around in this circle introducing ourselves, is that I was born into a Christian family, and Allah blessed me to become a Muslim just over 10 years ago. And before I was a Muslim, just before I became a Muslim, I was actually hoping to become like a film director and an actor. I was a rapper, I was a documentary maker, script writer. I was always been a creative writer, poet, all of that type of stuff. But I used to focus a lot on films. And on films basically. And the stuff that is done behind the scenes before it becomes a film. So, all of the plotting out of the shots of the camera and the script and the costumes that the actors are going to be wearing, all of that type of stuff. I used to focus on that. And what I just want to say that when you lot was giving your answers is that in a lot of films that are fictitious, they're not based on reality, they're made up amongst the non-Muslims. They have a fantasy about, a world that is not how this world is, or how the society amongst the non-Muslims is. When they visualize a better place where people don't use bad words, or don't do bad actions, they're good people, they say nice things, they have good intentions for one another, they're helpful, and these types of things. And the type of energy that I get from you kids is what to the non-Muslims is a fantasy. Mm-hmm. They've never actually experienced it in life. They've never been able to speak to a room full of kids you lot's age, and been able to hear children or young men of your ages being able to say the type of things that you've said. It's like a miracle. For non-Muslims to hear the things that you've said coming from children your ages, this is miraculous. It's not normal. It's a big blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's something that inshallah ta'ala increases my belief in Islam, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the truth of Islam. But in answer to your question, inshallah ta'ala, when it comes to change, change is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He blesses people to make. And if I was to answer the question that the Sheikh, he asked, how do people change? I would probably say the way to change is to beg Allah to allow you to change. Because it's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who can allow you to change, or anybody to change. Honestly. If Allah doesn't bless a person to change, they'll never change. And I know people who have, they've been born into families who have been really, had a very difficult situation. One of my best friends before I became Muslim, his mother, his father got his mother addicted to crack cocaine, and
his father got his mother.
Yeah, the father of my best friend before I was a Muslim. He, when he met my friend's mother, he enticed her and encouraged her to start taking crack cocaine to the point she got addicted to it. And then he went and had an affair with another woman, and also got her addicted to crack cocaine. And then he started to make her do some evil stuff with her body for money, and he was collecting money for what she was doing, to the point that his brother was born with crack cocaine in his veins, in his bloodstream. When he was born, he had crack cocaine in his bloodstream. And so this is my friend's brother. And basically I've seen people who have grown up in families who have their families have been torn apart by drugs and gang violence and stuff like that. And I've spoken to them before becoming Muslim and since becoming Muslim. And I remember I used to sell drugs myself before I became Muslim. And I used to sell drugs with a friend of mine. And I used to smoke myself. I used to smoke marijuana and that type of stuff. And I started when I was like, I was quite young. I was about 11 years old, 10 years old. And then I got to a point when I was about 18 where I decided that this isn't doing anything for me, anything positive. You understand? Like, it makes me stink. And it's not really doing anything good for me. So I started trying to quit smoking. I remember I used to be around this guy that I used to sell marijuana with. And I used to see him sell drugs to his mum. I used to see him sell drugs to his mum and be asking his mum, where's my money for the drugs that I gave you the other day? And she would say, look, I haven't got it right now, please just give me some more until such and such time. And I used to look at this and say, do you know what? Allah blessed me to have been born in a family that was not affected in this type of way. So, although it's not excusable for him what he's doing, I can kind of understand how he's got into it, because his mother and his father were drug users, you understand? But Allah blessed me to be born into a family. My parents weren't drug users, but I was acting like somebody who was born into a family whose parents were drug users. And I said to myself, no, Allah's, God Almighty's given me something that I should show gratitude for. You understand? I should show God gratitude for this because I wasn't born in such a family. So, I started to question myself. So anyway, one day I asked this guy, after I kind of made the decision to come and stop smoking, this is just nonsense. I was still selling it. I said, I'm still going to sell it, but I'm not going to smoke it. And then, that was bad enough as it was, but I said, at least I'm going to stop smoking. So I asked him one day, why do you smoke? And he gave me the best answer that I've ever got for a smoker in the whole of my life. And since then, I was about 18 years old. Up until now, I've been asking people who smoke the same question, why do you smoke? And he gave me the best answer I've ever heard in over 10 years. And what he said was 4 words, very simply. He said, monkey see, monkey do. That was his answer. I asked him, why do you smoke? He said, monkey see, monkey do. So he didn't even try to glamorize it or dress it up and go and it helps me relax, relieves my stress, and pretend that it had any type of benefit. He just admitted that I have grown up around this action and I started to do it simply because I've grown up around it, basically. So what I would say about change is that change is something that you have to beg Allah to do for you. And if Allah has blessed you to know what is right, then that is a blessing that you should show gratitude for, and don't take it for granted that Allah will continue to allow you to know right from wrong if you don't show Him gratitude for that blessing. And Allah tells us in the Qur'an, in at least one verse, or maybe more than one verse, that if a person basically doesn't show the gratitude that they're supposed to for the blessing of Iman and knowing the truth, if the person doesn't show the gratitude for that, then Allah may take it away from that person and give it to another people. And the people that He will give it to will show gratitude to Him for that blessing. So I would say that we all need to make change, but there's levels of changes that need to be made. So disbelievers need to change in the biggest kind of way and stop being disbelievers, start being believers. And then even amongst the Muslims, we can be Muslims and maybe we believe, we're certain Islam is the truth. Yeah, I know Islam is the truth, but maybe the person doesn't pray. You understand? They don't pray. They don't pray 5 times a day. Maybe they go for Jumu'ah. So that type of person, he needs to change and add to the goodness that he's got. He believes in Allah. This is a very valuable thing. But he needs to change to the extent that he needs to start praying. You know, to the point where he needs to get to the point where he's praying 5 times a day every day. And even when he starts praying 5 times a day every day, he needs to try to improve on that and change and try to pray 5 times a day in the masjid if he has the ability to do so. And even when he's praying 5 times a day in the masjid, he needs to try when he's praying to think about why is he doing what he's doing? Why am I praying? He needs to constantly analyze it. Why am I praying? Does it make sense to pray? And when I'm saying what I'm saying, do I understand what I'm saying? He needs to try to change in his prayer and try to understand the words that he's using. Because when you're doing something every single day, repeatedly, and it just becomes second nature, as they say, or a habit, you can have a tendency to be doing it with your subconscious mind. And your conscious mind is no longer awake when you're doing the action, to the point where you'll be saying words when you're praying, but you're not thinking about the meaning of these words. So the person who's doing that needs to change and start being conscious and slow down. And when he says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, he needs to think about what he's actually saying. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the universe, of everything. And this type of thing. So anyway, that's what I want to say. I'll say that Allah has blessed the people in this room who have been born into Muslim families. Allah has blessed you. And I'm telling you, I could sit here another day, maybe inshallah ta'ala, I'd love to come back and speak to you in more detail about some of the people that I know, and tell you some of their stories. But I'm telling you, I've spoken to serious gangsters in Tottenham, famous people on the streets, people that, you know, I don't know if they've killed people. Some of them probably have, especially one of the main gangsters in my area. And he became Muslim. And when he became Muslim, a lot of people started to look at Islam and that type of thing. And I've spoken to them, and believe me, these people are not happy committing the sins that they're committing. And the reason why they commit those sins is the same thing that guy that I asked the question about why he smokes. This is the reason they commit the sin. And they tell me, not in the same words, but they've explained the same principle. They say, monkey see, monkey do. I do it because I was raised seeing people do it, and I started to do it. And I know it's wrong, and I want to stop, but I feel too weak. I don't know how to stop. So I'll just say, appreciate the blessing that Allah has blessed you with, of having, if you have a Muslim family, you know Islam, and just try to change and be better. Just always try to improve.